We have enough criticism, we have enough skepticism. We don't have to bring our brand new ideas into that environment first. Welcome to The Localist, a conversation with local makers and independent entrepreneurs. I'm your host, author of the Localist book, and former small business owner, Carrie Rollwagen. Today we're going to be talking about protecting our ideas from people who are going to squash them immediately. Essentially, we always, if you're a maker, if you're a business owner, if you work at a business, I know that we all have these kind of brain waves, or we have these new ideas, or we're like, maybe this will work, or maybe this will be the thing that changes the direction of the company, or I can create this new product or make this new piece of art or whatever. And if you're like me, you kind of instinctually go to the people who are not going to be excited about that idea. So I tend to go to people who poke holes in the idea right away. And to be fair, I also am one of those people. So if you come to me, actually, the more I like the idea, the more I'm probably going to poke holes in it. Because I'm kind of looking at it like, okay, I like this idea, but before I get too excited, let me test it out and see if it's really a good idea. But that's not what most people need. And I, by the way, try to do better at that to varying levels of success. But a lot of times what we need when we have a fledgling idea is somebody to tell us that it's good, somebody to be excited about it. And yes, you need those people who are going to poke holes in the idea, but you don't necessarily want those people to be the first people you go to, because a lot of times then you can discard an idea that really was good, or at least that had potential to be good. Because a lot of the ideas we come up with at first aren't great. They really do have holes in them. But we need to nurture them a little bit before we kind of poke those holes. So a great way to kind of tell who should you talk to and who should you not, I think is found in Tara Schuster's first book. So she kind of divides people into 3 categories, the people in her life. She calls them hype men, road warriors, and absolutely not. So essentially, figuring out who these people are in your life, like even before you have an idea, but kind of just thinking through them now, can help you when you have an idea. Like, for example, I will instinctually go to the people who are going to poke holes, but if I have a list of the people who are kind of more the hype people, then I can actually say, not even in the moment, but just kind of say to myself, like, oh yeah, let me go to my hype people first. And a lot of times that doesn't add a lot more time. It just means you're going to have a 5, 10, half an hour conversation with somebody who actually likes your idea and can kind of help you fall more in love with it, kind of have that crush period before you kind of have the, serious talk part of, I'm kind of making a metaphor of a relationship here. I don't know if it's really working. Okay, so essentially, how do we figure out who these people are? The hype people, I think you already know. So kind of think about in your head, just imagine telling your idea to someone else and imagine how they will respond. So for me, in my life, I know that my sister and my dad are probably going to be in love with whatever idea I'm in love with. They're going to tell me I'm a genius. They're going to tell me I'm really good at whatever it is I'm doing. Now, does that mean they never give me criticism? No, not really. But generally when it comes to just ideas that I have or plans that I'm making, maybe they tell me, pull it back a little. Maybe you're too busy, because I'm usually too busy. But they're not really going to criticize that idea. They're going to be like, oh, that could be really cool. And they're really good people to go to first. And then I have my mom, on the other hand, who's a lot more like me. And she is going to immediately, again, kind of poke holes in that idea. She's going to say, maybe even skip the section where she says good idea, which I tend to do as well. We need to work on that. But she's probably going to go into kind of logistics of how do we actually make this idea work. she may believe in the idea just as much as my sister or my dad does, but she's actually going to show that belief through kind of like, let's really work through it, which is not necessarily what I need at the beginning stage. Now, I will say, if you tend to be more of a road warrior, like my mom is, or like I am, you can be more of a hype person. For example, with this podcast, my mom pretty much always is a hype person now. She's not criticizing. She's not giving constructive criticism either. Even she's just like saying good things. So just because somebody's a road warrior in one area or at one time doesn't mean they can't change, or doesn't mean they can't be a hype person in another area. So to find your hype people, honestly, just kind of imagine how is that person going to respond. You probably already know if they're going to hype up your idea or not. And then call them or talk to them and let them do it. So a lot of times I skip that step because it's like, okay, well, if they're going to like it, like, why would I even talk to them about it? They're going to be fine. But honestly, sometimes I need that praise. I need that validation too. And you may need that. And your idea might need that. And also your idea can grow from positive feedback too. Like, I'm a person who's always like, okay, like, let me know what I need to change. Let me know what I need to do. But sometimes you can get just as many good ideas of kind of like following that excitement and like embracing the idea. So that can be really good for your idea too. Okay, so I'm going to skip road warriors for a second and talk about the absolutely not, because you find these in the exact same way. Just imagine telling this person your idea and you probably already know how they're going to react. You know the people who are going to meet every single idea with skepticism. I think it's important here that you can love these people. They can be your friends, they can be your family, they can be people you trust in a lot of areas of your life. And absolutely not does not mean they're a bad person. Now, it might mean they're a bad person. Like you might have like a frenemy or whatever at work that you know is either going to steal your idea or is going to tell you your idea is bad. They also might be on your absolutely not list. But there may be people on your absolutely not list that you actually would share a lot of things in your life with, but you don't have to share every single thing. You don't have to share this new idea. So when Duquette Johnston was on the podcast, he talked about one of these people. He talked about a person who he was really close to. And when Duquette went to him and said he was going to start Club Duquette, the guy was like, no, you should not do this. You're crazy. This is going to be a disaster. I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember what he said, and I wasn't there. But Duquette did it anyway. And then a year or two later, that same guy was sitting in the store, seeing people shop, seeing people be happy and find new products and seeing community building. And he admitted that he was wrong. But that was later on, like there are people in your life that, of course, at some point you tell them, you don't just start a new brick and mortar business. And by the way, you never told, your mom, but at the beginning stage, at this fledgling stage, you can talk to them about other things and you don't have to test out your idea on these absolutely not people. And this is where it is helpful to make a list because, again, it can be confusing because you may say like, well, I love this person. I enjoy talking to this person. And they still might, when you're honest, like you may be able to say, okay, every time I've brought them a new idea, they've just shot it down. So I'm not going to bring them new ideas. I'll talk to them about it, maybe, but either after it's launched or just like a few weeks before it's launched when it's far enough along, when the idea is strong enough, when you believe in the idea enough that you're not going to let it get squashed. Okay, how do we find our road warriors? So there are going to be some road warriors who just you go to no matter what. I have some people in my life, some friends, business owners, family members. My mom is kind of one of them. Or not kind of, she is one of them. So some people that no matter the idea, at some point, I'm going to bring it to them. Because it doesn't matter what field it's in, they're going to have some really solid advice. And then you also have some road warriors who are going to, it depends on what you're doing. So, for example, when my husband was starting jiu-jitsu and we were looking for a space, I had some road warriors who were friends of mine who have bought buildings before, who have worked in realty before, who have just been a part of that process before. So they're going to be my road warriors for that kind of thing. But then I have a new project, a writing PDF that I was working on, and I'm not going to bring it to David and John because they're more my road warriors for like real estate or starting a business. But I'm going to bring it to my friend Kelly because she is great at social media. She's great at events and promoting things and stuff like that. So I'm going to bring that idea to her. So you may have road warriors who are just like good across the board, and then you may have road warriors who are kind of for specific things. So if I have a writing project, I'm going to bring it to these people. If I have a social media question, I'm going to bring it to these people, that sort of thing. And again, there's a lot of overlap on those two groups. So, okay, we know how to find our hype people, our absolutely nots, and our road warriors. Why make a list? Like, why not just have it in your head? Because Tara Schuster recommends making a list. Well, and she actually puts hers on the wall of her office, I think. She does a lot of washi tape and fun markers and things like that. And that's a great idea, too. I think I would be afraid of somebody walking into my office and seeing that they're on the absolutely not list. But just being able to have this in your journal or in your phone or something like that is helpful. Because a lot of times we kind of wash over the criticism that we get. A lot of times we think, oh, I deserve that criticism or that person was right or whatever. And then, 6 months down the road or however long it is, we're like, oh, well, it's probably fine to go to them. So I do think somewhere it's nice to just think about this for 5 minutes, write down who your people are so that when you do have a new idea, you can find the right people to go to. And just really foster the idea, foster excitement in the idea. We have enough criticism, we have enough skepticism. We don't have to bring our brand new ideas into that environment first. So hype people first, then road warriors, and you don't even have to tell the absolutely nots. Maybe just let them see when it's actually launched. So thank you for listening to the Localist podcast. It is written and produced by me, Carrie Rollwagen. We record right here at Infomedia Studios, and if you are interested in starting your own podcast or you need photo or video for your business, we would love to help. Just head to infomedia.com and fill out that contact form and let us know what you need. So it's not just me that puts the Localist together. We have an entire wonderful team. Our showrunner is Taylor Davis. Our outreach manager is Jen Tucker, and Elena Harmond is our marketing and promotions manager. You can find show notes at carrierollwagen.com and find me on social media at crollwagen. DM me, comment on my posts. Thanks for always liking my posts. We love to see it, as they say. So thank you for listening. Until next time, here's to thinking global by acting local and putting small shops before big box.